What is up, my pleasure babies? Welcome to Monday's episode. What is on the menu for this week? Well, how to spot if your partner is selfish in bed. Now, this is something that you probably will encounter at some portion in your life. So I'm going to tell you how to spot it and potentially how to fix it or slash address it. But first, before we get started, I would like to take a moment to thank you all for taking me to 40K, motherfuckers. Holy shit. We made it to 40K and I wouldn't be able to do it without you all. So thank you so much for your support. And if you are new here, welcome. Welcome to the Pleasure channel. If you like talking about sex or anything that anybody else considers a taboo, then you know what to do. Like this video, give it a thumbs up, and do not forget to subscribe. Now let's get started. So when it comes to partnered sex, obviously you are wanting to feel some sort of connection, whether that just be a physical connection or whether it be an emotional connection. That is kind of the base of sex and where it kind of starts from. Now, healthy sex and non-selfish sex should be super pleasurable. You should feel that sense of connection, and it should be passionate, meaning like it's coming from a place of love, whether that means you actually love the person or whether it means that you are holding space to care for them in this moment in time. Now, this only happens when both parties are actively invested and actively involved. So let's say you are the one that is constantly giving and your cup is never being filled up back. That sucks, right? So that would mean that your partner is the selfish lover, meaning their goal is to climax by themselves and that is all they are focused on. And that leaves you in the dust. That being said, it is a little bit more difficult in some cases to tell if your partner is really selfish in bed. Or in fact, if you're the selfish partner. For instance, you're in the heat of the moment, okay? You are wanting to climax, you are feeling all of that pleasure. So much so that now your partner's pleasure has kind of drifted away because you are so focused in on just yourself. Now, in this video is where we are going to help you change or help your partner change to be more attentive to your significant other's wants and needs while you both can be feeling your pleasure and your passion. And let's be serious, when you come and your partner comes, it is that much more fulfilling. It means you got the orgasm you deserved and they got the orgasm that they deserved. So let's start with sign number 1. You're doing all of the work, meaning maybe you're giving that person oral all the time and they never ever or maybe once in a blue moon do it back to you. Or perhaps maybe you're the one that is focusing solely on your pleasure, so much so that your partner's pleasure has slipped away and doesn't matter. Now, typically a selfish partner doesn't engage in much mutual touch or doesn't engage at all. Now, sometimes this can come from a place of trauma, but you won't know that unless you open up that clean line for communication, which is where part of our foundation of sex comes from, is open lines of communication. Telling your partner your wants, your needs, and your desires and how they can assist you to get you to your orgasm and how you can assist them. Remember, it is a coupled partnered bonding experience. If you want solo play, that's why they made masturbation. Either way, if your partner isn't putting in the work that you are putting in, it is time for a chat. And yeah, this comes at a time where you're timing your turf and your tone. Make sure you remember those 3 tips. Dr. Emily always stresses about that, and I am here to definitely back her up. Number 2 is no foreplay or it's not happening often enough. Now, everybody loves the good quickie, but when you're constantly missing out on that build up for foreplay, especially if you are a vulva owner, that can leave you feeling rushed or like sex has turned almost goal orientated. So meaning you're just in it for the orgasm, we're getting in and we're getting out. Bottom line is, you know your partner partner is selfish in bed, when they're not curious about your body and what you enjoy, and they're not checking in. They almost have their own agenda for just themselves. The best way to address this situation is to have that conversation with your partner. Approach the situation up front. Maybe ask them why they're constantly rushing through foreplay or rushing through the sexual act in general. Perhaps you can ask why they're ignoring your request. Either way, it comes down to that tough conversation that we never want to have and that feels uncomfortable. But remember, with uncomfortability comes growth, and our ego likes to protect that. Number 3 is when you express your wants and your needs and your desires, and it is met with resistance. You know your partner is selfish in bed when they can't handle feedback or any type of constructive criticism. It is about learning one another's bodies, right? Because at the end of the day, every body is completely different. No person will receive the exact same pleasure in the exact same way. Every vulva is different and every penis is different. Now, when your partner can't take feedback well, it usually comes out in defensiveness or anger or aggression, when quite frankly, honestly, it comes from a place of insecurity and it shows up as selfish. And if you're the one that's not open to feedback, explore that resistance. Why are you feeling like you are right? Why are you trying to dictate the way somebody else receives their pleasure? Another question you can ask yourself is, why am I not feeling open to hearing my partner's suggestions? Hell, at the end of the day, feedback is what is gonna make you and your partner have better, orgasmic, pleasurable sex. Number 4 is they're only focused on what they enjoy. Now, of course, we all come from a place of wanting to please and pleasure ourselves because it feels good, and we get so wrapped up in that feeling sometimes that we forget about what our partner is feeling. So a good example of this is, let's say you have the person on top and somebody on the bottom. Chances are the person who is on top is doing majority of the work. You see your partner is getting fatigued. So what do? You usually will switch the position and try to help them out so that they can slow their heart rate and focus on more pleasure rather than the panting and the deep thrusting. You kind of change roles because it is partner play, right? We're on a team sport here. Sex is about mutual pleasure and requires active attention to make that happen. Now, some of us are obviously a little bit more sexually explorative, shall we say, meaning maybe you want to dabble into a fetish, or maybe you want to try some BDSM, or just something completely different than what your partner necessarily wants. Now, if you care for your partner and you show them support and allow their curiosity, you might be willing to expand your boundaries in a safe place while maintaining your comfortability. But when you're closed off, that doesn't allow the option for you to go forward and explore something that you and your partner can enjoy together. And yeah, if it is a kink or a fetish or a BDSM type of thing, and you don't end up liking that, communicate that over to your partner. Maybe there's somewhere in the middle where you can meet. And last but not least, number 5, they feel entitled to sex. Sex is supposed to be a collaboration between both parties and both partners. It is not a one-man sport. Like I had said, it is a partnered sport. Coupled. We are playing on a team, and the same team. Ever have a partner that tries to force sex on you when you're really not in the mood? That is some sort of shit of entitled behavior. But the opposite can occur too. So you go from not being in the mood and being forced upon, or your partner constantly pulling away from you and they're never in the mood, which can also be selfish, meaning you're really not trying to keep the intimacy alive. And if this becomes a chronic issue, this will definitely take over the whole entire relationship. Yes, I understand sex is only a portion of the relationship, but it is a huge portion. And communication comes with an even larger scale. So you have your communication here and you have your sex here. But good sex and good communication, or I guess good communication, leads to good sex. So you need to be able to find that in between in that communication with connection so that you can be attentive to your partner's sexual desires, wants, and needs. So pretty much at the end of the day, all 5 of these things have one thing in in common. And it is the fact that communication is what keeps sex good and thriving. Communication is lubrication. Communication is satisfaction. Communication can bring you an orgasm if you just tell your partner what your expectations are and what your wants and needs are. Now, I know this was one of my lower energy videos, but forgive me because yesterday was Saturday and I'm filming on Sunday and today is Halloween. So what do you think I did on Saturday? I went out and I got waisty pants and I just got dressed and it's like 7 o'clock p.m. and I laid in my hoodie all day. Like this is what I live in when I'm hungover. It's this giant, I need to be sponsored by these people. Like fucking hoodie, sponsor me, please, because this thing is sex magic in its own. I mean, it's not gonna get you laid, but it's definitely gonna keep you warm. But anyways, I am taking video requests. So make sure you drop down your requests for video topics or ideas in the comments below and you will be heard. I promise you, you will be heard. Anyways, if you have not done so already, what are you doing? Subscribe and like this video. Give it a thumbs up and I will see you next Monday, babies.